I look a little crazy, but I needed to film this video before the sun went down. Don't mind that. But anyways, let's get into the video. Hi, what's up you guys? Welcome back to my channel. So now that I'm in my third trimester, the idea of labor and my birth is really starting to become real. So today I thought I would share my birth plan with you guys, which kind of just includes my preferences of, you know, the whole medicine side of it, but also just the random things like how I want the lights or who I want there and things like that. And so I thought I would share that with you guys. So something to keep in mind with your birth plan is that it really is just a preference, right? So we obviously can't control exactly what's going to happen in our birth. You never know if there's going to be an emergency or, you know, if your doctor's going to have certain rules. I'm not really quite sure how that works, but I do think that having a birth plan is a really good idea if you do it the right way, because it helps you know at least what you want to have happen, and it helps you have an idea. So if you do have some options where the doctors are asking you if you prefer this or that, you can already know and not feel stressed having to make a decision right in the moment. And going along with that, the birth plan also kind of acts as a communicator between you and the nurses and the doctor when you may not be able to communicate if you're in a lot of pain in labor. So that's really helpful. It kind of just gives you a voice when you may not have one at the moment. And so that's why I personally wanted to create a birth plan. And I'm just keeping in mind that obviously these are what I would love to happen in the ideal world and what I hope will happen. But I also am gonna be okay with the fact if some things don't quite go as planned or if they're a little bit different. Also, I've been kind of sick for the last few days, so if my voice sounds weird, don't mind me. Can't really help it. One thing along with this I wanted to mention is everybody's birth preferences and what they want for their birth can be so different. So just because I say something about my birth that I want to have happen doesn't mean that that's something that you need to have happen or that is the right thing necessarily. It's just what I would like. So just keep that in mind. I actually learned in an infants and toddlers class that I took at my school, someone asked, what is the best plan? What's the healthiest for the mom and for the baby, and just in general, what's the best plan? And she said, overall, what the best plan is going to be is if the mom is able to feel heard and able to have the birth experience that she wants. And of course, it doesn't necessarily mean that everything has to go perfectly, but just I think that's a good way of looking at it. But I just really want to drive that home that when you're making your birth plan, think about what would make you the most comfortable, and that honestly is going to be the best outcome in the end. Okay, so now let's get into the video. So what I decided to do is I'm just going to kind of list off the different things that I wrote down, and I also have some suggestions of ways you can make your own birth plan, and so I'll kind of share that as I go through. There are a lot of online templates that you can look at and actually download to customize yourself. So I highly recommend doing that, because there were a lot of things as I was kind of wanting to plan my birth and think about what I wanted that I didn't even think of. And then once I saw them as an option on one of, you know, some of the templates I looked at, I realized that, oh, that is something that I actually would love to have, or oh, that's something I don't want to have. And so it really helped me think about that. And another really great thing about these templates is a lot of them are very simple and easy to understand. And when you're making your birth plan, whether you use a template or not, that is something to really keep in mind, is to keep your birth plan as simple as possible. So if you think about it, you know, the nurses, when they come in, they're not going to have time to read paragraphs, you know, that you've written a whole essay about what you want and why you're wanting that and all that kind of stuff. So what I suggest doing is using pictures or just 1 to 2 words, phrases, things like that, that get your point across, so that they can just quickly look at the sheet when they come in and know what you want. So the birth template that I used was by Mama Natural, and I will link that in the description below. And basically she has a free one that you can do. You can also customize your own. If you just go to the link, they'll have you sign up and send in your email, and then they will email you the template that you can edit yourself and kind of change. So that's what I did. There's lots of other resources. You could also just look up birth plan template or something like that, and you would find tons of options. So that's just one that I suggest. Okay, so the main thing about my birth is that I want to do a natural birth. I kind of mentioned this in my vlog where I talked about why I switched doctors at 28 weeks. But I didn't go super into depth about it, but I want to do a natural birth, and with that I want to do hypnobirthing to help me achieve that natural birth. The reason why I want to do a natural birth, there's a few reasons actually, but really it's that I am honestly more afraid of the epidural than doing it naturally, which I know sounds weird, but everyone has their own things that they like better or more afraid of. And to me, for some reason, just the epidural is more scary. The thing that gives me the most anxiety about an epidural is just that I'm the kind of person where any type of thing that makes me feel out of control really stresses me out. So for example, I've been put on laughing gas before at like the dentist, and it's embarrassing to admit, but they turned it up too high because it wasn't working, so it was pretty strong, but I ended up having like a panic attack and got really stressed out, and they had to take me off of it. And it was because I was aware enough, but I wasn't able to fully like control myself because of how much they had given me. And so that's kind of how I feel like I would feel with an epidural, because I know it numbs like half of your body, and for the most part you can't really move it. And so to me, that would just make me feel so anxious, being aware in my mind but not being able to move and control myself and things like that. And so that's actually probably the biggest reason why I don't want an epidural, although I know they would help so much with the pain. And so if I wasn't so afraid of that, I would consider maybe doing that. But that is my plan. And I also really want to see what it's like to have a natural birth. I find that so fascinating, what a woman's body can do. Having any other type of birth is just as amazing because you're literally pushing or having a baby taken out of you in some way, and you created that baby. So regardless, it is so amazing. But I just always thought it would be really cool to be able to feel, what birth fully feels like. And just personally, that's just what I want. The reason why I chose hypnobirthing is it was actually suggested to me by my sister-in-laws. So both of them did hypnobirthing, and because of that, they were able to go fully natural. And when they first suggested it to me, I actually was kind of like, what is that? But I researched it and kind of asked them questions about it. This is just what I have understood being explained to about it, and all the research I've done is that it's really not actually hypnosis necessarily. It's more of a meditative style of like breathing and keeping your mind calm. If you're able to keep yourself calm, it's gonna keep your body from being so tense, and because when you're tense, that's when things are gonna be even more painful. If you think about it, like when you're embarrassed, you blush, right? So that's kind of a good example of how your body has an actual physical reaction to what you're feeling or thinking inside. With birth, it's the same way, right? So if we are able to stay calm and use those techniques to help you not get all stressed out or tense, then it's going to help a lot with the pain and make it so much more manageable. So that is why I want to do it, is because I know that naturally it's going to be probably painful and really intense. And so if I can do something to help myself stay calm and to be able to lessen the pain as much as I can on my own, then awesome, right? So that's my goal. So basically, if you want to look up hypnobirthing, I highly suggest it. I'm not going to go too much into depth in it in this video, but overall it's a lot of breathing practices and affirmations and learning how to get into that meditative state so that you can stay really calm during birth. That was a long-winded answer of the first thing on my birthing plan is a hypnobirth. And then the people that I'm having in my birth room are my husband, Dallin, and my mom, and then I have my sister-in-law who's actually going to be my birth doula. So I'm really excited about this because she is one of the ones who did hypnobirthing and told me about it. And so she knows what to do and how to help me stay in that meditative and relaxed state. So I'm really excited about that. She's my husband's sister, and I feel super comfortable around her and very calm around her. And I think that'll help Dallin feel more comfortable as well. So I highly suggest getting someone like a birth doula to help you in labor. They kind of are an advocate for you and just like a motivator and a coach, and they know things to help with the pain and to help calm you down and keep you going. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. Because I want more of a natural birth, the next thing I want is free movement. And that kind of goes along with why I didn't want an epidural. So I don't want to be hooked up to any IVs or not be able to walk. And so I really want to be able to just move around, be in different positions and things like that to help with the pain. And then I also want to have intermittent monitoring. So basically, I'm still kind of looking into what exactly that is and what that entails. So if anyone has more details on that, definitely let me know. But from what I've found online, basically it's just that they're still monitoring your baby, but just not as often, and you're not constantly hooked up to a monitor. But I still want to be monitored enough where they can, tell if the baby's doing okay and things like that. And then I also don't want to have as many cervical exams. There's a lot of other ways to tell how your body's progressing, and I don't want that to kind of get me down and to make me feel like I'm not progressing enough, right? I want to be able to stay in my mind and not have to kind of disrupt my relaxation and trying to stay calm by having tons of exams and checking where I'm at constantly. And to me, that would just get me down if I wasn't as far along as I thought. So I'm just going to kind of just do a smaller amount of checks based on what's necessary. I really want to labor in a tub. So I'm not allowed to actually give birth in the tub at the hospital that I'm going to, but they do have tubs in every room for you to labor in, and they're jetted. And this is something that I would do a lot on my period, is I would just take baths, and it helps so much with the pain. And so I'm really excited about this. I really think it'll kind of help me manage the pain and just feel a lot more relaxed. So I'm so excited to have my jetted tub. And then just a few other things I put on my list that are just kind of smaller things, or that I wanted the lights dimmed. I want it to be a really relaxing thing. I'll definitely have like my meditation playlist from the hypnobirthing thing, but also if I want to just have relaxing music in general. I want to be able to have food and drink for me. Some hospitals don't allow it, but I think a lot do, so I'm actually going to look into that and ask my hospital. I'm not the kind of person who can go very long without having it. I get so shaky and just like shut down basically as a human. So if I can have food, I know that'll help me be able to last longer and have energy. I want to labor first as long as I can at home, and then go into the hospital once it gets to the point where I really need to be in there. Because the longer you wait at home, you're able to just be more comfortable. I can be in my own environment, and then it kind of doesn't start the clock, right away. I just really want to be as comfortable as I can for as long as I can, and then go in. And I also said I didn't want to have any students if possible, just so I can feel more comfortable and, decrease the chance of something making me feel, again, stressed out, right? It's a common theme that I've said here, but that's really my main goal for my birth, is I want to be relaxed and I want to just feel the best that I can. And then I also said that I did not want to have an episiotomy. A lot of hospitals really aren't doing that much anymore anyways, but I just said that so if it does come down to it, I want the doctors to know that unless it's absolutely necessary, and I want them to check with me first, I don't want an episiotomy. I do think it's important to plan for possible things that could happen, and what your preferred choice would be if this situation does happen. So for example, like if I need to be induced, I did put, if necessary, I can be on Pitocin, but only if that's the absolute necessary thing. And then I also put, if I have a C-section, I would like a gentle C-section. So basically what that means is they treat it more like a real labor and a real birth. So in a normal C-section, I guess the baby is just kind of taken right away, and the pediatricians or whoever are weighing them and testing them and stuff like that. But what I want right away, which this actually goes into whether I have a C-section or a natural birth in general, I want to be able to have my baby put on me right away and have that skin to skin. And so if you suggest that in a C-section, they can do that for you. I want to start breastfeeding and just have that kind of time just for a few minutes, and then have her checked after that and, get all the things necessary that she needs. And then for after delivery, I wrote down a few things as well. So I said I would like delayed cord clamping. Basically, they only delay it for just like 3 to 5 minutes, so it's really not that long, but it basically just helps the rest of the blood get from the placenta to the baby, and it just has a lot of nutrients that if you cut it right away, only 2/3 of the blood gets to the baby, whereas if you just leave it in for an extra few minutes, the baby can get that extra third of the blood and all the nutrients and stuff like that. Dallin and I decided that he would cut the cord, so I put that on there so that the doctors would know that we want him to do it. There are a few other things that I am still deciding on with my birth. I didn't put them on this list, but that basically is what my birth plan is. I'm really, really excited for birth. It's starting to get to this point where I'm like, I just bring it on. I'm ready. I'll be 30 weeks tomorrow actually, which is so crazy. And I already am feeling just so ready, but I'm also feeling really excited and just motivated for it. Definitely a little bit afraid, but I think having this plan has kind of helped me feel more ready for birth and like I have an idea of what's gonna happen. That is my personal birth plan. If you guys have any questions about maybe different things that I talked about in my birth plan or any other topics that you guys want me to talk about, definitely let me know and comment that down below. And make sure to thumbs up this video because it really supports my channel, and subscribe. Thanks guys, bye.